don't know if you're like this, but a lot of people view themselves as their own evolving work of art. It's been a process, and you've been improving yourself and developing yourself and learning new things and trying to live your life better and have more balance in many things. And I realized there's something that you can learn about developing your life professionally, personally, any other way that you're developing your life. And you can learn that from sculptors. There are actually, as obvious as this may be, I'd never thought of it, there are two different approaches to sculpting. There is an additive approach, and there is a subtractive approach to sculpting. So in the additive approach, what you're doing is putting things on something to create the work of art. You take a piece of metal and you weld another piece on it. You can make sculpture out of wood. You're putting on more clay, you're moving it around. And the additive approach to working with clay ultimately creates the thing that you're sculpting. The subtractive approach to sculpting is like a stone. You take a stone and you chisel away parts of it to reveal the sculpture underneath. It reminds me of a really great joke from when I was a little kid. How do you make a sculpture of an elephant? You take a piece of stone and you carve away everything that doesn't look like an elephant. And that is the reductive, subtractive approach to sculpting. So you're out there sculpting your life. You're building yourself. And we often think of evolution as additive. It's what we're becoming by learning new skills, trying new things, et cetera, growth, improvement, evolution, new everything. And you become more than you ever were. But I ran across an interesting quote that actually inspired this vlog. It was on Instagram. It was on the power of positivity. And the quote, "Maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you, so that you can be who you were meant to be in the first place." Now, think about that. Since you've just spent the first several movements, maybe half your life, maybe more of your life than half, in the additive approach to building yourself, the subtractive approach is also part of building your life and evolving to become what you are supposed to be. Now, you'll notice that people, when they're learning, often do hit a point where they say, you learn more and more and more and more about less and less and less and less. You start zeroing in on something. In a sense, that can be both additive and subtractive. You're learning more and more and more about less and less and less, and you're trying to be that specialist in everything. As people work their way up the ranks, they often experience, as I have as a solo, well, not a solo entrepreneur, but I've always been in my own companies with small teams. You wear too many hats, many hats. You're doing so much. You're tracking everything. So even now, 20 years into a company, I'm part of sales, I'm part of marketing, I'm part of proposals, not so much anymore. And I'm part of delivery. And I'm way out front as a speaker. And I'm also coming in the back end, delivering some of the work. But I had many more hats than that. And as I have been evolving through, it's getting rid of hats that take me away from the things in my life that distract me from what I'm good at. And I'm trying to spend more and more time in the things that I'm really exceptional at, where I have gifts and talents and the passion to do a certain something. So that's subtractive. And what I found is it's not so much where I'm working, but what I'm doing. So I found that the skills I have as a presenter actually do work in delivery. So both ends of the spectrum are using the same skill set. Some things like accounting and project management, if you know me, not my specialty. I have to try to step away and steer clear of that. I have part of me that's really good at interacting with people, and I'm on teams, and that's using my skill. But I'm not doing a lot of the things that I'm not good at anymore that I used to have to do. So my suggestion as you think about your life, it's not one or the other. It's not like, should I be additive or should I be subtractive? I think it's both. What should I add and what should I subtract? working with clay can be both. You're putting on clay, then you're taking clay off. It's a little bit of both to get to that sculpture that you're trying to be. And the other truism is I think we're really additive at the beginning. And we hit a point in life where we should recognize that we might be at the point to start subtracting. You'll notice people downsizing, maybe not tiny home, but smaller. People are realizing they don't need so much. People are getting rid of their stuff. They're purging their lives of a lot of the things that they have created in the additive process and trying to disassociate with them to find a simpler life. You can find simplicity, and I think the later movements are much more subtractive as they are additive, more selectively additive and more globally subtractive as you get older. So think about that for you and your own professional development. You have two approaches. We can add to ourselves and we can subtract for ourselves. And in both cases, we're trying to get to the truer, realer, purer you.